All right. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another live stream. Yesterday's live stream was pretty good. It was 5 hours long. Um, I know we didn't go live on TikTok at all, but we were live on YouTube and Twitch and Kick for, or not Kick, X for pretty much a very, very long time. You know, and sorry, today might be a little bit difficult to, because I feel like I woke up with like a little bit more of a sore throat than I did yesterday, and I'm trying to not sore throat, but like I don't know, coughing, right? Where I feel like there's like maybe a sickness that's there, but I'm trying to make sure that I don't, you know. So it ends up being a little bit of an issue where I'm trying to make sure that I don't get sick by this weekend because we have our first official basketball game for third and fourth grade. My daughter has her first basketball game and her second basketball game on the same day. So hopefully I don't uh, hopefully I don't get sick at all. So I'm trying to do like preemptive strikes on the potential sickness, taking medicine for it before it even kind of happens, as well as the zinc drops and stuff. So, um, what if Terra Labs starts buying U.S. bonds and uses the Genius Act? I don't I don't think that will happen because one, you need if you're talking about the Terra Luna Classic community, it's a different story. But when we talk about um, Terra Luna Classics, the classic themselves, like that's not a thing right now. It's community driven, really. um, so you don't have any one person or any one group that's in control really of Terra Luna Classic. It's all in the hands of the community, the people. So I don't think that's something that will happen unless like a Dokwan comes out and has a larger amount, or owns a large portion of it and decides to do something of that nature. But I don't think that would be the case. um, What if they buy all the coins? I mean, at this rate, you would need somebody that has a large amount of money. Terra Luna Classic is worth what, like $400 million. So you would need somebody that first owns probably billions of dollars. So that $400 million is a small subset of what they own, and then they can decide to do whatever they want with Terra Luna Classic, which wouldn't be the case, right? You have um, people or businesses that own a large amount of Terra Luna Classic, like Binance, and doesn't do that, right? Yes, it would help out the community in a way, but it also, like, Binance would lose a ton by, let's say, burning that or doing something drastic with that just to get the uh, community to make money, right? That's not how that works. I think you need, if you're going to have anybody sacrifice anything, it would be the leaders of the community, which is, or leaders um, of the coin, which technically is the community, and the community would have to give up something. That's why I've always stated that if they give up their own coins, in a way, not necessarily like, hey, I'm giving you my coins, but let's say it was a reverse split. Everybody's giving up something in order to achieve whatever the goal is, which is to recover Terra Luna Classic. With the burn rate that's on an exchange or um, through natural transaction, you're giving up something in order to, get that ultimate goal of recovery. So I don't think that's really the case at the moment. You'll never see anybody buy up everything and sell or burn everything or anything like that. Guys, we have 33 people here on YouTube. Make sure you guys hit the like button. And if you're on TikTok, make sure you double tap or triple tap or however many taps you need for the screen. I appreciate it. It gets me a bunch of likes. It does bring more people in here as well. Same thing goes for YouTube. The more likes you have, the more people that come in. So feel free to hit that like button. And we're going to talk about Jasmy Coin. We're going to talk about cryptocurrency overall, and obviously get into my stock portfolio as well, which I can always do a live stream on that, which would be great. Let me just ask a question. Yeah, feel free to hit that like button. Also, if you guys want to check out my link for BTCC, feel free to do so. This is a platform that I've been using for over a year, and I've had some wildly successful trades, whether it was a 2x leverage, a 5x leverage, or even all the way up to um, a 500x leverage. So feel free to check out this link in the description, in the chat as well. If you specifically use my link, you will get a 10% deposit bonus on your first time deposit. Extra bonuses up to $10,055 and enjoy up to 40% lower trading fees. So if you guys are interested in this platform, feel free to do so, to check that out in the chat. Not in the TikTok chats, in the YouTube chat. Um, I find it fishy to destroy a coin like that. I think it will come back. Yeah, I think it will as well. It's just the difficulty is, we're factoring in time. I don't like to factor in time a lot because throughout time hasn't been great to me when it comes to investments. Right? Everything has a popularity window, and for Terra Luna Classic, that popularity window was, when that fall happened to maybe 1 or 2 years after that, where you would have a lot of supply and a lot of movement. And then even in 2023, we saw a massive pickup where the price of it absolutely skyrocketed. And it's about the amount of volume. And if you want to fix something, you have to do something with that volume in that time period. So now it gets a lot more difficult as we factor in more and more time by not decreasing that supply. And we have to look elsewhere to kind of decrease that supply or some sort of drastic measures. So I feel like um, you're right. I feel like, we'll come back, but, you know, only time will tell how far we'll come back. Do you think Teo, or do you like Teo? Congratulations on Jasmine today. Well, thank you. Um, I haven't, I can't say I haven't looked at it. Let me see. Um, but I've probably done maybe a couple of reviews, not reviews, but breakdowns on this on live streams, never on an actual video. Thank you for becoming a Make Money member, AMR. I appreciate it. Um, We have Bit Sensor that's at a $279 price point. For the year, it's down by 48%. It's at a $2.95 billion market cap. It does have half the supply that is out there, the max supply being 21 million, seeing about 10, almost, if you round up, 11 million coins. I think if we just look at history and see where this has been, price wise, what the all time high is. All time high is $767.68. All time low being at the $30 mark. I haven't ever looked at it and said this is something that I see, you know, massive potential with. And again, I haven't researched what it actually does. Um, so if I took the time, maybe I might see that for future values and future growth. But right now, just looking at it standard, you know, I don't necessarily look at it and go, this would be a top play for me. And everybody has their own top plays. Bitcoin may be somebody's top play, and I'm not a big fan of Bitcoin, but it doesn't mean that you won't see wild success in Bitcoin. You know what I mean? So, not necessarily the biggest fan of it, but also I haven't done my research on it. So don't take my word for it and say, oh, I'm not buying this because Matt doesn't believe in it. No, I just haven't researched it. Um, Give me a second. Let me see. So let's go ahead and do kind of a breakdown of the crypto market and look at Jasmy Coin today, and then we'll go into some news and all that other stuff here. No problem, Phil the Industries. Are you invested into Teo? Do you have a lot of it, or like what's your opinion of it? I always like to know what somebody's opinion is, so that when I go into it, I can get some of the highlights of what somebody that has done maybe extensive research on it, and then understand whether it does fit my portfolio or could fit my portfolio. You know what I mean? um, but anyways, the current crypto market sits at a $3.16 trillion market cap. It is down by about 1.4% today. Also seeing coin market cap 20 index DTF that is also down by 1.5%. The last 7 days up by about 6%. Bitcoin is slightly down on the day, 1.7%. Last 7 days, 3.7%. You're going to see here XRP is up by 20% in the last 7 days, but is down by 5% today. While this did hit a $2.40 price point, it is now down to a $2.25 price point. BNB is slightly down by 0.1%. So not following the rest of the market, but is up by 5% over the last 7 days. Dogecoin slightly down as well. It seems like that's the trend, that we're down by about 1%, 2%, really on average of some of the top cryptocurrencies that are there. Chainlink down by 1%. You have Leo that's down by 3%. You have Zcash down by 4%. Stellar is down by 4.10%. You have H bar that's down by 2.5, 4% for CC. Shiba Inu is down by 3% as well. So a lot of negativity today. But majority, like you look at the overall market, is down by 1.4% overall. Things that are actually increasing today, which may change as we move along in the day, because it's a rolling 24 hours. Jasmy Coin is up by 3%. 7 days is up by 54%. It's at a $443 million market cap, which there's a lot of room for growth and a lot of places to go from there. Hyperliquid is up by 1 or 2% today, 6% for the last 7 days. Polygon is up by 24% in the last 7 days, and 1.3% today there. You have Memecore as well, that's up by about 4%. I did want to try and factor in maybe the top, instead of the top 100, let's show the top 200. It's always great to look outside of the top 100, because if you just focus on the top 100, a lot of times you won't be able to experience the level of growth that you want to experience, right? You want to see 10x's. And yes, you can see a 10x from a $500 million market cap to a $5 billion market cap, but you can also see a 10x from a $100 million market cap or a $50 million market cap, something like that, to something a lot further. So if we look at things that are up the most out of the top 200, we can see here that Melania meme coin is up by 10%, 27% over the last 7 days. And then you kind of get into the flow of other things, where you have meme coin, you have Jasmy, you have Flow that's up by 3%, 15% for the last 7 days. I like to look at a lot of things that are, outside of the top 100. Golem is sitting at 148 by market cap. Now, I don't know if this truly is like the best play in the world. I mean, you have circulating supply 1 billion, max supply 1 billion, so all the supplies out there sitting at a $263 million market cap. 11 or $12 million worth of volume, not really the most popular play, but again, you can actually do more and more research there and see some of those bigger movers. But yeah, that's kind of where the market is right now. Let's look at Jasmy Coin closer, just to see where it is, the movement that we saw in the last day, and then we'll get into the chat and kind of talk with everybody. So $443 million market cap, $219 million worth of volume in the last 24 hours. Do you know what that is? That means that it's a 49% volume to market cap ratio, showing the level of popularity that Jasmy Coin actually has. Now, overall, down by 99%. A lot of people will look at this and go, this is a rug pull, and it's never going to come back. It's never going to be worth what you think it's going to be worth. Jasmine Coin has a lot going for it. Obviously, I talk about the use case, I talk about the partnerships kind of all the time, but more on the popularity there, because without popularity, you can't go any further. And I feel like Jasmine Coin has that. Whether it's in Japan or whether it's actually in the U.S., many people talk about this position, and you see how much goes into it, how much money goes into it. It currently sits at a 80% or 90% of a penny mark, 0.0089. And if you look at the last 24 hours, it's up by 3%. The last week, it's up by 54%. This is a play that was more recently at 6 cents and now is sitting at less than a penny. Just seeing where it got to, even at these lows of the 60% of a penny up to that 6 cent level, you're looking at a 10x in what you can gain. And then even further than that, when we see it at 60 cents and a dollar, it would only be a $50 billion market cap at a dollar, which may sound like a lot, but we've seen things that are less capable get to these levels. We're talking about a Shiba Inu. We're talking about, a Dogecoin, that they're meme coins. The sole reason for them to get to those places is for people to make money. The sole reason for this to get to it is more or less for the utility, right? For a use case for those partnerships with Panasonic and Sony and Apple, I'll say. I put that in quotes because it's not necessarily a partnership, but more of a use of services. But either way, you're looking at something that's completely different that could get to that $50 billion market cap because of something outside of just the popularity, but even though it does have that popularity. So always excited for Jasmine Coin. I'm glad to see that it moved yesterday, and I want to see it break 1 cent today so we can start baby stepping our way into other levels. So will Jasmine hit a dollar this year? I do believe Jasmine will hit a dollar this year. I'm looking for those zones of, hitting 10 cents first. Because we reached a level of about 6 cents. We passed the 5 cent level, getting to about 6 cents. So we want to kind of move to that next level, which is resisting from the 10 cent mark and then breaking through that 10 cent mark. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there. Render. I don't have Render. I'm not going to say I'm not the biggest fan. I've seen a lot of positivity and a lot of people talk about it. When I find plays like that, and maybe I haven't missed Render now because it has come back a bit, but I feel as though when I first wanted to invest into Render, it was at a much lower price. And I didn't end up making that move because of lack of funds. So when I typically have those things that happen, I don't invest into it at all. Not saying I don't believe in it or believe in the growth. It's just I always feel like I missed my opportunity, so I didn't make that investment. But I do think that it has a decent amount of potential. I think Render is sitting at what, like, I may be mistaken. I was gonna say $2, but I think $2.43 is where it stands. And I think one of the high points that we saw was $13.60, which was 2024. So you have a decent amount of potential to get back to some of those points. However, are we looking at an increase of that circulating supply to then give us a diluted price, right? So fully diluted value where it stands is 1.5 billion. Current value is 1.26 billion. If we look at all history, maybe we'll look at the last year and we look at market cap. So what I typically look for is movement to see if any of the supply, did get added throughout that time. And it doesn't look like throughout the last year that you saw that. But if you look at price versus market cap overall, you can see a little bit of a shift, but it's not necessarily a huge shift. So if we get to that ultimate high price of $13 or $12, let's say, wherever this was March 20th, 2024. So March 20th, 2024, we're looking at a $4 billion market cap. So that would be about 4 times where we are right now. Let's just say 4 times where we are right now. If we were 4 times where we currently are, it would be a $10 price point. So there was a little bit of dilution that happened in there, but it's not anything that's a super concern. I think that 4 billion was still understated, and maybe you can look at a 10 to even $20 billion level for render. So you have some potential there. I just feel like for me, as I saw that price, a while ago, and people mentioned that to me, um, I was just like, all right, I want to buy it under a level of a dollar, and it just didn't end up getting or buying the position that I wanted to buy. So, has potential. I'll say that. What do you think we are heading up or down? Do I think we're heading right now? We're heading kind of down. We may see a bounce as the market opens, but we have to see how the stock market reacts. Because I'll tell you what, my investing portfolio or my dividend portfolio looks really, really good. For this year, it's been flowing in the right direction. Now, that's not to say it's not going to come back and make moves in the opposite direction. But one of my biggest position, which was SCHD, um, was down pretty much the entire year. After you saw the split, it was down the entire year. So now seeing it up, and I'm up $2,000 on that position overall, I'm happy with that. Year to date, I'm up by about 1.6% or $3,000, which is great. And I want to see that just continue to grow and hopefully be up 10-ish%. That would be amazing. About $20,000 over the year. That would be fantastic. Um, so yeah, thank you guys for joining. What is Jasmy's utility? So when you look at Jasmy, it's all about data. Right now, I would say you don't have that utility that is like fully established, but it's more of the thought process of the utility, just like many other cryptocurrencies as of right now. It's more of the establishment of that utility and um, seeing that its major point is data. Utilizing data is the most important thing in my world, right? Understanding your data, having control over your data, that's kind of the biggest piece in my world. And when you have something like that, um, it can be a major part of everyone's world, if that makes sense. So, what what's up? Jasmine skyrocketing? Yeah, I know. Jasmine was making some huge moves. It's up by about 50 something percent, 60 something percent. Good morning to you as well. Thank you for joining me over on YouTube. I appreciate it. Um, Also, thank you guys for hitting the like button. I see all the likes that are coming through. You guys are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Where was I going? What was that? What was I saying? I get distracted by like 17 different chats that are going on. It's so I mean, I'm not complaining about it. I'll be happy. I will be very grateful for the the people that are coming through. I don't want to say that I'm annoyed by anybody. I'm not annoyed by it. So if we wanted a breakdown of what makes Jasmy Coin unique, um, you know, Coin Market Cap will break down a lot of stuff, whether you talk about the founders, you talk about what does make it unique. But the Jasmy platform guarantees customer confidentiality and gives them the right to manage their own personal data. With Jasmy, users send information via Internet of Things devices to companies and exchanges for services in a secure manner. Jasmy offers data processing policy in which information gathering and customers is carried out properly, excluding information leakage. The Jasmy network ensures a decentralized infrastructure where data management is built on security and trust. Thus, the Jasmy Coin project is trying to support the highest possible level of safety and security of the market. And the active use of Internet of Things devices helps to reduce fraud. Now, I don't know if people know what Internet of Things actually is. But Internet of Things is a huge sector where I didn't actually put this all of these things together. And that's what you actually was saying. I always like to go into a lot of the different detail that's here, but it's good that I'm kind of just flying through it. But Internet of Things, if you think about everything that you own, back in the day, would you ever have thought that a refrigerator needed internet access, or even something like a phone needed internet access before the internet became a major thing, and a hub for searching things and using AI and all that other stuff? Um, would you have thought that a phone needed internet before the iPhone, before the smartphone and Samsung phone, right? Before all of those? Um, no, you wouldn't have. You would have been like, oh, I just need to call in and I just need to call people. And then you introduce texting. You're like, I just need to call and text people. And then you introduce internet, and people are like, why? Why do I need the internet? Oh, I can search for things that's on here. Oh, I can play games that are on here. Oh, I can do like there's so many things that you can do with that internet that's on that device. So, um, when you look at IoT devices, um, you're going to get to a point where you're like, why would I ever need it on my refrigerator? Why would I ever need it on an iron? Or why would I need it in my headphones? Whatever. Um, but that's basically what it is. And you have all of this data that's out there on all of these devices. To be able to secure and manage your own data is kind of what we all want, what we all would love to have. However, the use of the coin right now is not necessarily fully implemented within that system, if that makes sense. But will be as time goes on, right? As you see businesses that start to adopt it, that's where the use of Jasmy coin becomes a little bit more um, doable, I guess. That makes sense. LOL, this guy is a paid influencer runaway. I don't even know what that means. But thanks. I appreciate it. Lionheart. Great name. What was um uh will Jasmine hit $1 this year? Again, I do believe that Jasmine will hit $1 this year. But we have 69 people that are here. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. 73 people that are here. Hit the like button on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are interested. Also, check out the link for BTCC in the chat, in the description. Answer the poll to say if you hit the like button or not. But let me see what everybody's doing. Um, Good morning. Enjoy your Jasmine move. I mean, I'm enjoying it for sure. I have over 800K Jasmine and I'm not selling. That's great to hear. I think that you should have a different mindset in saying that you're not selling, more or less like you're not selling now, but you do have hopefully an exit plan. Not necessarily to where you need to exit it completely, but majority of it, you find ways to take profit and put your money into a place that maybe I wouldn't say you aren't comfortable with crypto, but you were more comfortable with, as you move along in your life, like a dividend portfolio or a Roth IRA or, whatever. Flow and Theta got delisted from Coinbase last night. Really? Um, what was the reaction to that? Well, Flow is sitting at a 178 by market cap. Getting delisted from Coinbase is no joke, because getting back on Coinbase is a joke, right? It takes millions of dollars for you to get back on Coinbase, which is crazy. But it's at a $169 million market cap with $27 million worth of volume. The volume to market cap ratio is pretty insane. But it looks like right now, I guess in the last 24 hours, you still saw uh, a flow of money that went through Coinbase, but majority of the money goes through Binance and Upbit. So it, I guess it really doesn't matter at the moment for flow, but it's a decent volume to market cap ratio. I don't know why. Is it? typically, with Coinbase, it's definitely a lack of volume rather than a lack of creativity and development and all that stuff. So I'm kind of concerned with that because it has the volume to market cap ratio, so it shouldn't be a problem. But maybe it just doesn't see as much volume on Coinbase, and majority of that volume does happen on just Binance and Upbit. So that could be a case. Um, you said Theta. Theta Network is at 134 by market cap. Volume to market cap ratio is 6%, $19 million volume day with $313 million of a market cap. A billion supply versus the total supply of a billion. You don't have any dilution there. I mean, what's the problem? Majority of the volume happens on Binance or Upbit, maybe HCX as well. So, for what reason? They seem like they're definitely solid positions to me. Maybe they wanted them to pay more when they get because I feel like these exchanges are a major problem. Exchanges get paid to put a coin on their platform unless it has a crazy amount of volume and they go out of their way to buy it and want to obtain the fees, then they do that. But a lot of cases with like meme coins and utility projects and all of that, people pay Coinbase millions of dollars in order to get listed on there. And then Coinbase will go on their Twitter account and they'll say, we're listing this. And then they'll get an influx of people that are buying it on Coinbase because of what they just listed. And then they'll get the fees with it. And then eventually that volume may die off. And when the volume dies off, they delist it. And then in order for them to get back on there, they have to pay millions of dollars again. It's a it's just honestly it's dumb. I kind of hate it where exchanges shouldn't be paid to put those on there. But then again, how do the exchanges make money at
At
that point?
official Lead Colify donated $1.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
God bless. Folded hands medium skin tone dollar Jesus coin Latin cross a mission coin heart.
That's a lot. I do appreciate your super chat. God bless you as well. Thank you for you say Jesus coin. What's I think I might have seen Jesus coin, but I want to look at it before I even dive into it. I'm sure there's plenty of Jesus coins. There's Jesus coin 2.0. Yeah, it's not something I'm gonna look at. I appreciate the super chat though. I really do. Or were you trying to say Jasmine or something? Um, it will grow up to about 14 cents this run. Two-ish two-ish next run. We'll see big believer wish I held. Yeah, I mean that's many people where they said they wish they held the position. Have you started stacking Flare yet? I haven't, and I probably won't. No offense to people that see Flare as a position. I really haven't bought um see it as a position. What am I even talking about? To see that see it as a position that they want to hold. So it's seeing it as something that it's going to have a lot of growth and utility and all of that. I don't want to shortchange that response. But yeah, I haven't been investing into anything new lately. I've just been reinvesting into some of the things that I currently own. If I am down on it, averaging down on that position, gathering more because the positions that I hold now, I do believe in those wholeheartedly, where they're going to increase, they're going to run. Um, so I want to make sure that I have a decent presence in those positions, as well as a forever balance in those. So Jasmine is not a meme coin. No, it's not a meme coin. It has the popularity, not the popularity of a meme coin, but it has a lot of popularity where many people will say, oh, it's just popular. No, it has a lot going for it. This is essentially the Bitcoin of Japan. And that's the way that it's looked at now, and you also have businesses that are partnered with it, right? Whether you're talking about Panasonic, right? That I feel like people overlook that. It just doesn't have a lot of information on anything else that's happening, like any new developments, which sucks. I would like them to come out and just continuously talk about it. What are the new developments? What's planned? What's the roadmap? All of that stuff. But they give out information sparingly, so it makes people think they don't have any information. They don't have anything going for them. They have a lot going for them. Where would you, where would you buy Terra Luna Classic? So I have it on MetaMask. It's on the Binance Smart Chain. Rather than buying it on Kraken, which you can't do anymore, buying it on crypto.com, which you can't do anymore, and you could never buy it on Coinbase, so that's just not going to happen. But I have it on MetaMask. I transferred, not really transferred it, I sort of transferred it. I bought and then sold over here because I couldn't transfer it if it's on the Terra Classic chain and try and transfer it over to the BNB. That way it wouldn't work. So if MetaMask had access to the Classic chain, then I would just transfer it over there, but they don't. So yeah. Are you staking Terra Classic? I'm not anymore. I was years ago, maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago. I was staking it on the on Terra Station, um, on the Station wallet, but I didn't like where validators were going, so it seemed like everywhere that I staked with, yeah, I could. Give me a second.
At 11/7 Productions 6557 donated $4.99 through Super Chat. Dollar Jesus Coin is the largest community of believers in crypto. Give a look. CA ed 0xBA386.
All right, yeah, I was hoping that would cut off, because nobody's trying to look at the or see or hear the wallet address. Um, or the contract address. But I appreciate the super chat. I'll have to give it a look. If it's at a larger market cap, obviously I would more or less talk about it. But um, when things are at a lower market cap, I can have an influence on it. So I don't necessarily like to talk about it. Just because I don't want that movement to be primarily on the fact that I said, hey, this could have potential, right? Even if I did or I didn't, it still ends up getting some sort of movement. I've seen things that have about a $2 million market cap end up getting those larger moves. But I don't want to have that impact, right? So anything that's higher than like 10 million or 20 million, typically I can um, look at without having any type of major impact. Atomic Wallet is a great place to stake Terra Classic. Really? Do you have your Terra Classic stake there? I don't feel like I need to be greedy and getting more. I just want to hold it and have a place to where I know I'm going to be able to sell it rather than them like deciding to delist it. You're not going to see a delisting from MetaMask and being able to swap Terra Luna Classic directly on, well, not directly on the Terra Classic chain, but on chain of the BNB or Binance Smart Chain. So 12% return is amazing. That's fantastic. How do I get out of here? There we go. Bro, help me become a millionaire. I'm serious. I'm so tired of buying coins that flop. I don't mind buying something that will make me a millionaire in 3 years. It's tough because it's more of a mindset that you need rather than just like, hey, I want to become a millionaire here. Because the problem is that a lot of people, no offense, do lack the patience to become that. Because you can become a millionaire off of something very small. We're talking about $10, maybe $10 a day into your IRA, into your Roth IRA or something, and deciding to invest a certain amount per month and just seeing that grow year over year over year. And by the time you are 30, you will have $1 million, right? I believe that's the case. You have $1 million as you by the time you're 30. Um, that will make you a millionaire by that time, and then you can also live off of that. Now that's something very small. Another thing is finding things that have utility or are going to have success in the future, that you are investing into now and being patient as you move along, because it could be 3 years, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. And then that finally takes off to the next level. And then you're like, oh, now I'm a millionaire. You were patiently waiting your way into being a millionaire. And then there's the way of many other people are looking for, the quick money. Hey, I'm buying Shiba Inu. I buy $8,000 of it and turn it into $5 billion. It's it's not that easy, right? There are so many meme coins that are out there as of right now that can't really be the way that you think. It's like, I need to turn this into this. How do you know that meme coin is gonna move like a Shiba Inu? You don't. No one does. And you can have all the chart readers in the world and go, this is going to be the next best thing because look at this chart and compare it to Shiba Inu. It's like, no, you can compare it all you want. It's not SHIB. It's not Doge. It's not Pepe. And you don't know if you have the next best thing. So the only thing you can really go off of is how cryptocurrency is going to be utilized in the end, right? When you look at cryptocurrency at a 10,000 foot view 5 or 10 years from now, could you have seen this coming? And for things like XRP, for things like Ethereum, for things like Solana or AVAX or Cosmos or whatever, you can kind of see those things play out. It doesn't mean that it's guaranteed, but you can see those things play out better than you can a paper bag coin, right? It's a paper bag, and it has nothing to do with any type of use within that cryptocurrency. It's just about pushing a paper bag so it makes a lot of money. I don't even know if paper bag is a thing. I'm just throwing the name out there. But that's the main problem with today, is the fact that people don't have that patience to become a millionaire. Because it takes time. Yeah, you can rush into it, and sometimes that does happen, but majority of the people, if you are going to become a millionaire, you invest into things that you think are going to change your economy or the world's economy or just the future in general. And that's the same thing that happened with somebody that believed in Bitcoin at $2,000, ran to 20,000, then decreased back down to 2,000. And everybody in the world is like, Bitcoin is never going to get back to the $20,000 mark. Lo and behold, it gets to 40,000. Then it gets to 50 and 60 and 70. And those same people that said it's never getting back there and talked a bunch of people out of it, they don't feel bad at all, right? They feel great, because whatever they decided to do, they already made money from just you listening to them, right? And I care about you guys making a move for yourself, right, rather than making a move for me. That's why when I say things like, I'm not going to talk about a cryptocurrency that's at $5 million, that's at a $6 million mark, because I may have influence on it, because it might be a false breakout because of the fact that I just talked about it. So I don't know. Thank you for the gifted membership, Wise Mind. I appreciate that. um, but yeah, it's definitely more than more of a mindset, um, about trying to become a millionaire, because I've been off and on a crypto millionaire, and people ask me all the time, like, you had a crazy amount of money at the peaks of everything. Why didn't you decide to sell everything? Well, that's not what I'm in crypto for, right? Yes, I want to be able to gain something, and right now what I have is still life changing no matter what, and it continues to move, and the movement that I see per day is life changing amounts that moves every day. Um, but it's about what crypto will be. I'm not trying to be greedy and be that person that's trying to gain $5 billion. My goal is to have just about $10 million that my family can live off of and learn how to live off of for a long period of time, and teach my children about that and show them the real numbers, right? Um, because when you have, let's say, $1 million and you just want to spend $100,000 a year, which is going to be a lot of money, you can put that into the markets, 10% gain every year, and have $100,000 that you gain in just growth, not to mention whatever dividends you end up seeing. So then you have $100,000. Yes, you have to pay taxes on that, and that's just kind of free money because your money is working for you. That's what you want to see in the end, whether it's with crypto or whether it's with the the stock market, or even in real estate. Jasmine, $100. Jasmine, is that what you just said? Or are you trying to say $1? Okay. Jasmine, $100. That would be amazing, but I'm not holding my breath. I'll tell you that. Thank you for following. Imagine a Doquan pardon. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Maybe, but I don't know. I wouldn't count on it. $1 reach this month. I wouldn't push for that either. I think that it definitely could happen this year, and I'm saying could because you never know the things that are going to happen. But I look for that as kind of that higher tiered price, but I'm not banking on everything that I own to hold until that point. Without internet, there would be no Echo Dot. Don't say it out loud. As soon as I see that word, it's right in the background. You can see it. I know what you try to do there. Don't say it out loud. I'm not Ron Burgundy to where I just read anything that's on the teleprompter. I just want your honest opinion, if you think it's a good play, Matt, when you get a chance to check it out, brother. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I know there's just I never know who's a part of that community and um who created it or anything like that. I know I don't have like hundreds of people that are here in the chat right now or in the live stream. It's like 79 people right now with 78 likes. So if you haven't had a chance to hit the like button, please do so. But I never know if they're looking for kind of an unpaid like sponsorship in any way. And sometimes the positions that come through, they'll end up using them on their Twitter or on their website, and I'm like, I didn't I didn't tell you that I wanted this done or I allowed this or anything like that. Like I didn't give you um, permission. That's the word I was looking for. I can't think of words today. I didn't give you the permission to do that. So let's say you had $1 million. How would you cash flow it? If I had $1 million right now in cash, and you're saying where would I put it? So it would go for me. Mm, let's say majority of it, probably 900,000 of it, will go into the stock market, where I would put it into some dividend plays like a FDVV, or even something like a ticker symbol O, Realty Income, or go into Vanguard ETF. But mainly, I would try and look for things that have about an average of a 3% dividend that I can get, but then also have a decent amount of growth. Now, if I was looking for just growth, I would probably just put it into some high tech sector ETFs, maybe like a TDIV, or like I said, a FDVV or a SCHG, that grow by an average of about 15% per year. So if I had $900,000, that's exactly what I would do. Now, um, again, there's two options, right? Where I'm looking for mainly the growth or mainly that dividend payment. And I right now I'm kind of marrying the two. Um, so I would probably look for just the growth there and the consistent growth. So I would go with FDVV, I would go with TDIV, I would go with um, SCHG, I would go with the SPY as well, and I would split it up maybe 33% a piece or 25% a piece between the four that I just mentioned, which would give me an average of between, let's say, 10 to 15% of growth, meaning that 900,000, if we rounded it up and it was a million, um, we would make about $100,000 a year in growth just to be able to pay me. Now, I would just reinvest that as I still have income. But if I don't still have income, then that would be something that I utilize for my official income, which then end up getting paying taxes on and all that stuff. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where that stands. If you're just doing it for growth, you don't have to take anything out and you're not realizing anything, meaning you don't have to pay any taxes on that because it's just the growth of that individual position. However, if it stays in there, you see the growth overall of those four positions, and that $100,000 stays in there. You don't have to pay any taxes on it, and you just see your overall account grow by 100,000 every year. Then the next year it's 110,000. Then the next year after that, it's uh maybe 130,000, right? You start seeing that growth uh massively, right? Where it starts really compounding, and then you get to 2 million, and then you're at 200,000 that you're gaining every single year. And then once your income is gone, once your income stops coming in, which I hope that you found another form of income that you don't have to really do anything with, um, uh, then which you could possibly focus on a dividend portfolio with some of the gains that you had there. Then you can gain 200,000 per year and live off of that, or you can live off 100,000 and reinvest 100,000. Right? That's like you have a opportunity to live off of or make money off of the money that you already have. And that's how millionaires and even people that have hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, continue to grow their worth or grow their net worth, grow their wealth, and make them just richer. They say that the compounding really starts when you hit $100,000 in your portfolio, and I can agree that that is the case. Right? You start really seeing it, where 10% of $100,000 is $10,000, and you're growing consistently. You see that movement year after year after year, and the more that you decide to continue to add to it with your current income, the further and stronger that growth actually is. So, yeah. Now, you can do that in many different ways. I want to get into real estate. I haven't been in real estate at all. And I really want to get into real estate just a little bit. I feel like I have even family members that I could own the property. They could pay whatever rent that they would pay, especially as the elderly have some of these places that are single story, just so one that family members can get around easily. They don't have to worry about going up and down the stairs, and when they have bad legs and ankles and all that stuff. But then own a property that I could then sell later on because the value of that property increased by so much year after year after year. Do you have do you have your Series 6, 7? Are you a accredited investor? I'm not, no. Uh, I almost said it there. Have a good day, Matt. Take time to make the donuts. Nope, not a baker. Got you. That is a saying that I found out. I think that might have been you. I just completed the 1 million Zebit challenge. Took me 6 months and really excited future project. Okay. Taxes is really sore subject with me right now. It is with me as well. Taxes are tough, especially like when like if you don't work for a company, like they don't take the taxes out automatically, so you don't have to worry about what a normal 9 to 5 person would have to worry about is just filing their taxes and making sure that you know they did everything the right way when it comes to their um, exemptions and dependents and all that stuff. Um, for me, I have to worry about so much. I mean, even when you're just investing in general, you have to worry about so many things. So even if you do have a 9 to 5 and you're investing, it then starts to get complicated. Then you start investing into crypto and it gets even more complicated. Great job, Matt. I appreciate your insight. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, but let's see if the market has made any positive moves. So it looks like no, it's made more negativity. 1.5% down. It's at a $3.16 trillion market cap. Fear and greed index is neutral. Honestly, I think it still should be fearful, but you have a lot of money, I guess, that flowed into a bunch of different cryptocurrencies recently. Said the live will end in 5 minutes if you don't touch the screen. Well, I touched the screen, man. I did it. Render is up for the last 24 hours. Um, maybe you're looking at a different platform because CoinMarketCap doesn't say that render is up. It's not even on the. Well, let's check. You know what? Yeah, CoinMarketCap says that render is down by 4.2% in the last 24 hours, and I guess you're probably looking at a place that has a different cutoff. In the 1 hour you're talking about. Okay, not in the one day. What is it? 58 by market cap. Yeah, in the 1 hour. Many things in the 1 hour are off and on. Many things in the 1 hour are positive, and maybe it's just trying to show some positivity. The market's trying to show some positivity after seeing some negativity. I was hoping that I would wake up today and that the market would be inherently green. Like, I mean, Jasmine Coin, XRP, everything just up, back up to previous high levels. Um, but that's not the case. XRP is down by 5.66%. I always it's like I wake myself up and I'm like, look at my phone, look at Coin Market Cap, it's gonna be green, and I'm hoping that that's the case. But no, it's never the case. I can't say never, but it is uh majorly. I can't say it. Major. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's not gonna come out today. It's not gonna happen. Ma- Majority. Did I say that right? It doesn't sound right. Uh, as I like live streaming, I really do. Um, that's a notable cause to help your family. I would do the same. Yeah, I mean, um, people. I was talking to my wife's family about like potentially like winning the 1 point something billion-dollar lottery, which I wasn't even playing, but they said if you won the lottery, how much or what would you do with the $600 million of take-home pay after taxes and all of that? And and I was like, I was saying, or they were saying, oh, would you give me 1 million or would you give me 2 million or whatever? And they were like, yeah, yeah, I would give you all this money. I'm like, why would you do that? First of all, you're paying taxes on the money, and then by sending it to somebody else or giving it to somebody else, they are now paying taxes on that money. That's the dumbest thing you could do. So owning property and having your family own property is probably the smartest thing where you still own it and it's not changing hands. No one has to pay taxes on that besides, you in the purchase of that property. But you are owning this property. It's going to increase in value. You could sell that later on. Um, and that's great. Property, as in cars as well. You can own all that stuff. It's all yours. But it's not changing hands of actual ownership. So you don't necessarily have to pay taxes on that. I think that's the dumbest thing you do is just start giving away millions because every time you give away 1 million, that person is now taxed at like 40%. So they're only receiving like 600,000 of that, you know? But yeah, I always want to help out, whether it's family or anybody else. I would love to be able to create a larger fund that the money for works for me or works for us, and the income that you get off of that. So say you had 600 million invested into the stock market, something that's never going to give up on you. See what I did there? Never going to give you up. Uh, you would be able to gain, let's say, an average of 10% per year on that if it was that simple. And then being able to take that money and just give it away to charities. That would be phenomenal because then you have a never ending support system of giving back to your community. And for me, I wouldn't necessarily just give back to like worldwide charities. I feel like this is something that should happen with, local communities and improving those local communities to be something a lot bigger and a lot better than what they are. If I had, $600 million or let's say $100 million, I would then take that and put that into the markets as best as possible. Um, Gain 10% per year, $10 million that goes into uh, helping out people every single year. I don't know how that would fully help out because going worldwide, $10 million may not help out the entire world or may not help out the entire nation or even your entire state. But focusing on your community and your city can improve your city drastically. Coca Cola. I wouldn't put it all on Coca Cola. I would probably put it on the SPY just because it's the S&P 500. Like it makes sense. Um, so then again, gaining 10% per year on $100 million would be $10 million is going into my community, whether it's going directly to like the school system or going to um, road work or going to, and I know that, you look at it and maybe $10 million still won't make an impact, a large enough impact on the city, but it definitely will have, I believe, will have an impact on the people just knowing that you have that $10 million that's coming in, however that can help. Improving shelters, um, to be a billionaire, build city. Wait, to be a billionaire, build cities. Well, yeah, in a way, I would love to be able to build up my city just to make it a better place. Like I live on the outskirts of the city of Reading, and Reading is great. I've grew up there my entire life. I lived in pretty much every block growing up. Very poor, didn't have anything, so we moved from place to place. Throughout elementary, I moved over 30 times. I like to tell that because it's just honestly unbelievable when I think about it. I'm like, yeah, I definitely did. Um, we're talking about 6 years of elementary school, and I moved 30 times. That's more. That's, you think about it, you're like, oh, you know what? Moving maybe one time a year is a lot, but moving multiple times a year, sometimes being kicked out, sometimes not having any actual furniture, living with family and friends and all that stuff. I wish I could have worked at that time. I would have, and I would have saved money and paid the bills we needed to pay so we could stay in one house. um, but yeah, I wish I could build up that the city of Reading and just help out. Also, what platform are you trading with? So I trade with multiple platforms. I trade with majority of my cryptocurrency. I'm trading with Coinbase. I like Coinbase. It's a publicly traded company. Like I'm a big fan of it. Um, it doesn't say I'm online for Twitch for some reason. Oh, there we go. um, then I also have BTCC, which the link to that is in my YouTube chat. I trade with crypto.com. I trade with Kraken. I trade with, there's other platforms, with Robinhood, with Webull, um, Fidelity. I have my individual wallets, whether it's with MetaMask or Coinbase wallet or Ledger wallet. I have, that's why it's so difficult to kind of track a lot of things. It made you who you are moving so many times. True, it did. It did. Um, because I definitely don't want to move that many times. I do want to move out of this place, probably stay in the same school system, depending on if they give my daughter a chance to thrive in basketball. Um, you have politics with basketball, so I'm glad I don't really live in a city to where you really deal with that. You do deal with that in Reading because I feel like Reading is always, can't say always, is usually good at basketball. Um, but I don't want to have. I don't think there's much politics or many politics in women's basketball for Reading High. But she doesn't go to Reading High, so I don't know. Just good job. I appreciate it. You and your wife could gift of 38K a year to an individual and not pay taxes, or you can give 19K and it would be the same result. We have to get to a point where we have a certain amount first, then we can worry about all that stuff. What's your whole take with the whole Venezuela situation? I have no idea. I'm blind to all news. Honestly, I haven't. The only thing I really check on, because I don't do anything or watch anything besides like basketball and uh, coach basketball and spend time with the kids. I literally don't catch up on anything that's happening. And I feel sometimes blind to a lot of situations where people will tell me, "Hey, what's your opinion on this?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what you're talking about. Who are those people?" So, um, yeah, there are times in the year I don't pay attention to anything. That's in relation to you winning the lotto. Okay, yeah. Again, I would only win the lotto if I was playing the lotto. So at one point I was, but then they raised the prices on the Mega Ball or Mega Millions. It's like $3 or something, or $5. I don't even know what the cost is. But I went to the machine and I was like, all right, well, let me go back to playing the probability game, where the more you play it, the more chances you have to win a $1 million ticket, right? Um, but then I went back there and it said it was going to cost $5 for each play, and I was like, what? Since when? And nothing changed within the numbers. So maybe I was going to check on it to see how much it cost. Ticket price. Yeah, the Mega Millions ticket cost is $5 per play. This price includes a built-in randomly generated multiplier, 2x to 10x, that increases any non-jackpot prizes. This price change took effect in April 2025 across all jurisdictions where the game is sold. Yeah, a ticket price of $5 is insane when you have the same odds to win. It just increases the amount that, the lottery gets to. So the more tickets that are being played, and the problem is you increase the ticket price because less people are playing it, so that you can have the overall um, amount be a lot higher, be at $1 billion. It's more entertaining and more people start playing it when it's at a $1 billion price point, because they did increase the price from $1 to then $2, and then now they increase from $2 to $5. That's insane. I'm not paying $5 for a ticket that has the same odds that it did before. And then you get a randomly selected multiplier. I don't care about the multiplier. I don't want that. Because that randomly selected multiplier doesn't come in handy at all. You get a 10x multiplier and you had $20. Whoop-de-doo. You spent $14,000 on tickets that year. Like, what? Can Jasmine Coin really hit $1? Yes, it's Jasmine Coin at $1 is only a $50 billion market cap. It definitely can hit $1. What's up, bro? Good to hear from you live. Well, thank you for being here. Answer me. I did answer you. Can Jasmine Coin hit $1 per coin? Yes, it can. Okay. Just bought $100 of Jasmine. How much is $100 of Jasmine? How much did you get? Guess we'll see. Looks like a solid move. Market cap next year is increased. For what? Jasmine? $50 billion market cap, that's all you need. Yeah, I mean, it's not a ridiculous market cap to get to. It's already seen multiple billions of dollars worth of volume, as well as the market cap growth. It got to I believe, $4 billion market cap of a high. Let me see. Because while people said, when I first invested in the Jasmine, many people were like, Jasmine Coin won't even get back to the $1 billion market cap, let alone get to a $50 billion market cap. And I was like, you're gonna see it hit those levels, and you're gonna go back on this comment, and you're gonna go, all right, I was just wrong, and I was ignorant to any type of information that was there. Because if we look at all information and we look at the uh, sorry, was a $2 billion market cap, not a um, $4 billion market cap. But the highest point that it got to there was a $1.3 billion market cap, and then it reached a $2 billion market cap multiple times before decreasing down to the low of a $258 million market cap, and now sitting at a $440 million market cap. There's a lot more growth and a lot more potential as we see altcoin season truly happen here. Jasmine reached $1 billion cap. The prices. So a sorry. A $1 billion market cap is a 2-cent price. a $2 billion market cap is a 4 cent price. So it got to about, which is crazy because I think it did get to a lot higher because it got to about a 6 cent price point. And it's only saying, if we look at the price, it's only saying that it got to a 4 cent price, but it got to 5 point. It won't show me exactly where it is because it's only going to show the last year. It got to a high of I think it was 5.9 or 5.89 um, cents. And as you look at that, that's closing in on a $3 billion market cap, not just a $2 billion market cap. So that's where it ends up being a little bit weird. Maybe I can look at it on. Let me go on BTCC. It might not track it because it only tracks positions that it had for all of that time. So it wherever it started at, that's where it tracks it. And I don't think Jasmy Coin was at a point to where they were tracking it then. So let me see. Let me go and look at the. Let me zoom out. Zoom way out. I was gonna say that's the furthest it goes back, but I guess not. Let me do by the day, each day. Yeah, so here we go. Here we go. Here's Jasmy Coin to USDT. You can see here that it got to a 5.9 cent price point. And that was in, what's the date on this? December. Let me zoom in. It was December 5th, 2024 is when it got to a 5.9 cent price point, but then decreased from there. Now that 5.9 cent price point is almost a $3 billion market cap. How much money would have to come in to reach a $50 billion market cap? So you would need to see multiple billions of dollars that flow in and honestly out. You're going to see both sides of it. So if I had to estimate and say how much would need to, if we're talking about an aggressive buy level, you may only need 25 to 30 billion or something. And that's inflows because you would still have outflows. And as you hit prices, you would have outflows from people like me and outflows from many other people as well. If I had to give you a real estimate on how much needs to go through, I would probably say north of $100 billion needs to go through. And it sounds like a crazy amount, but this is without seeing, 70% or 80% buy and 20% sell, which I don't expect to see, right? I expect to see maybe 60%, maybe 70. I don't know, but it has to be more buys than it sells. It has to be at a more aggressive rate. And if we're seeing FOMO that factors into it, then that's a whole nother situation, right? FOMO typically is like high 80s, 90s, and barely any selling. Jasmine is a steal under 1 cent. I agree. I 100% agree. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. We got 112 likes. If you guys can hit no way Jasmine $1. I mean, again, it's your opinion, right? I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you need to believe in Jasmine Coin getting to $1, right? It's not something that has to be where everybody agrees. Like, I don't like Bitcoin. I don't agree with people that believe Bitcoin should be worth where it is or way more than that, but it is, right? And people will provide that value as more people believe in it. You'll see that value and see it grow as the supply is more scarce. You'll see it grow. Think about the market cap. $50 billion? What's a bad? Why is $50 billion a bad market cap? Why is $50 billion ridiculous to you? So only talking about Jasmine, got it. No, we're talking about other things. What is your opinion on XRP today? I don't know where XRP is right now, uh, but I know it was down by like 5% the last time I checked. Last 24 hours down by 5.66%. 20% increase for the last week. Asked about Zora, any takes. I don't know what that is, so I would have to look at it first to see if it's kind of worth talking about. But we have a lot of questions on other things on the topic at hand, Jasmy and XRP and some other stuff. But my opinion on XRP today, I don't really have a major opinion unless some big news is going on. But it's just standard price movement. We saw an increase that was pretty massive. Cats drinking water from the fountain. I like that he does that rather than like drink from the actual bowl there, but the circulation of water, he'll drink from the fountain that's coming out. He's funny. All right, man, that's enough water. That's enough. You don't need any more. Relax. Spencer. Here he comes. Spencer. You can see him at the bottom of the screen. Not over here. Not on TikTok, but on YouTube. Where you going, man? Come up here. You going there? Spence. This is Spencer. What's up, man? He's got a mustache. I just don't want you to show your butt. You're not supposed to show your butt. I said, don't show your butt. I mean, you could come up here. I have like this little seat up here that he could sit on. Crypto cat. I guess. Thanks for following. Allison, thank you for following. Rockaway, thank you for following. Appreciate it. Hey Matt, what's up? Rockaway Joe, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. You know how long it's been since I heard that song? You the rock away. Lean back. Lean back. Lean back. Lean back. Don't dance, just pull up your pants and do the rock away. Lean back. Lean back. Now lean back. Um. Anyways, Jasmine tomorrow morning hit or bearish chat in your analysis. It's tough to say exactly where crypto is going nowadays. Honestly, it's always been tough, and people try and predict. They're like, oh, you know what? It's going to be a bullish market tomorrow, or it's going to be a bearish market tomorrow. They have a 50% chance of being right, and if they're wrong, then they try and explain why they were wrong. But it's easier to explain why you were wrong than it is to explain why you believe it's going to be a bearish or bullish market tomorrow. You know what I mean? Because then let's say if someone breaks it down, they're like, we're in this W formation and we're at the bottom and we're going to see, a double bottom. It's going to jump to break this high point that's here, whatever it is, right? And then it doesn't do that. And now they have to explain exactly why it didn't do that. And now they bring up a brand new pattern. They're like, oh, well, when we look at it here, it actually hit a point to where we saw a major resistance point at a double top, even though it fell down at the bottom. Like, this is the type of stuff that they do because you want to have this analysis, but you can't fully understand crypto. It's honestly, um, it's laughable at times because I can do that too if I wanted to and just make it seem like I'm the best chart reader in the world. But no, you're just telling me what already happened. And you're breaking that down of what already happened rather than trying to predict the future. And when you do predict the future, it's wrong, right? So do not read comments if it's not pertaining to Jasmine Coin. Yes, I read it. But if I don't feel like talking about it, I won't. Um, that's kind of how that goes. Because if you're really pushing a position on me, I could have eventually talked about it because it is at a $187 million market cap. But right now, I don't feel like talking about it because if I don't want to say anything, then I won't. Removing my like. Bye. See you later. Have a good day. Um, Elmo ERC, any ideas? I don't have any ideas. I have no idea what they're planning and what they're doing. I I would love to see success for every position that I own, as well as positions that you guys own. But it's very difficult to know one what the uh, developers and what the people behind the scenes are going to do versus. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. What the developers and people behind the scenes are going to do versus what actually happens. That's kind of what I was going to go with. I lost my train of thought. That tends to happen in the morning for sure. 4 year cycle in play, probably. I mean, in a way, I feel like. So I've been saying this that the 4 year cycle, while it still always will be a thing, it probably will be diluted at a later stage. When Bitcoin becomes less dominant in the market, that cycle is not necessarily going to matter as much. It still will matter for Bitcoin to see that, but to see when XRP gets up to be worth trillions, Ethereum is worth $1 trillion, maybe a little more, right? We talk about XRP leading the market, and things like BNB and Solana are worth hundreds of billions or even trillions of dollars. Seeing the dominance for Bitcoin kind of decrease, instead of being at a 60%, it's now at 20%. Now that cycle is not going to matter as much because other things control the market, and whatever their cycles are, whatever we see within that newer cycle that's created, let's say an XRP cycle, whatever that the case may be there, we now have something brand new. So right now, yes, for sure, Bitcoin is still at what, a 55 to 60% dominance. So for sure, we still see um, the cycle in play. But how how effective will that bear market be when you see all of the outside support and traditionalists and ETFs that are included in that? So that's kind of where I stand. I don't know. It could be the same. It could be completely different. But I'm going to be completely honest with you that it is something that's making me think the market's going to be different than what we've seen before, and then eventually it's going to be a complete overhaul where everybody's expecting something to happen because of Bitcoin that is within this cycle, and we should see a bullish territory for Bitcoin, but we see more growth for altcoins or something. I don't know. I'm excited to see what it holds. Holding 345,000 Jasmine coin. That's amazing. You still have your Elmo ERC position? Yeah, it's still in my, I believe, MetaMask. Yep. 228 million. Where was that? 228,000. 228,000. Something like that. I could have swore I had like a larger amount that was staked with them that I don't know if I ended up getting back. And maybe it still is staked with them. I don't know. I haven't checked on that at all. Maybe I have like 452 billion. It's sitting at a $281,000 market cap. So it's definitely tough. I just wish, like, the only thing is I wish that I knew what developers were going to do, because a lot of times it really depends on what the developers do, how much they burn, what exchanges they get listed on, how active they are in order to get those exchanges listed on. There's so many different factors of it, but there's positions that I have failed on that I still haven't given up on because I still hold them. Uh, to positions that have actually seen a massive amount of growth, and I still hold them as well. What exactly do you teach? I would say it's more of a, what I teach is more of mindset when it comes to investing rather than the actual process of investing. Many people will come out here and tell you, buy this, or this is exactly what I'm buying, learn from what I'm doing, or copy me. That's not the way that you learn, right? The way that you learn is going out and doing it yourself, but having a mindset that, hey, I never thought of that before, right? Um, so when you think of day trading or you think of swing trading, it's more about the discipline that you have within day trading and swing trading, staying to whatever your strategy is. If your strategy is to have a 5-to-1 ratio when it comes to profit and loss, you will have that 5-to-1 ratio, and you're looking to win 5 times what you lose, right? Um, and if you end up losing, let's say it's $100, right? You want to win $100. You are willing to lose $20 5 times in order to get to that $100. You're giving yourself a larger chance in order to do that. But if you go out of that ratio and find something that's out of the ratio, now you're not trading within your strategy, right? If you decide to let the loss go a little bit further because you think that you can win in this scenario, you're now taking away from that strategy. So it's about the discipline in something like that. It's more about the mindset of trading in general. Definitely don't. It seems like you just have in-depth conversations. Basically, yeah. I'm not here to be a guru because I'm not. Right? I'm not a master of all trades. I'm not the best at anything. Right? All I want to do is maybe help you with a second opinion. Um, and maybe help you with a mindset change. But I'm not a master of anything. I like to learn from you guys, just like maybe you learn from me at times. It helps me get a second opinion on the investments that I'm making. Um, I'm not a guru. I'm not an expert, right? I have degrees. I have experience. I made money, but I am nowhere near an expert. I will tell you that 100%. Like, I don't expect anybody to go, hey, Matt, you know all the information and know all the answers. So tell me how to turn this $4,000 into $8,000. Well, I could possibly turn it into $8,000 for me, but that's only because I'm willing to trade it and I'm willing to give it the time to mature. You might go, oh, this $4,000 now turned into 4,100. Right? Sorry, I was reading something. I have this $4,000 turned into 4,100, and then that person decides to sell it because they get hyped that they made $100. Right, so they don't have the patience to go through that. But obviously, I do. So yeah, that's why, like, there's a lot of titles that I just don't like. When people say, like, oh, influencers or whatever, I don't want to influence anybody. Right? I don't want to be classified as that. Am I a teacher? To an extent, right? But the best teachers get just as much out of their class as they give to their class. Am I right? Some of the best teachers that I have had in school have given me a lot, and I've given them a lot, right? Um, and we've had conversations. The person that got me into um, uh, one of my one of my teachers in or instructors, professors actually, in college in Thaddeus Stevens, where I went to for my first 2 years of business, not business school, but um, for my associate's degree in business. And when I say business school, I always think of like your master's degree or something like that. But um, he got me into trading when there was Scott Trade, and Scott Trade was like 8 or 7.95 a trade, which was ridiculous. We talked about day trading. We talked about swing trading, and if it's possible, and how much you need to make in order to break even, and all this other stuff. And we had constant conversations about the trades that we made, the investments that we bought. Um, so like he taught me a lot in even starting to get active in trading, and then with the conversations that we had helped him a lot, where he's like, oh, I didn't even see this position, or I didn't even look at Microsoft that way. um it's something simple. So yeah. My prediction: XRP $50, XLM $7, Jasmy 20 cents. um I think that's a small amount for 20 cent for Jasmine coin, but XRP to $50, it's not impossible, right? I'm looking for this bull run to be a little bit less, as like more of a realistic level, like $10 to $20, but definitely have those higher tiers of $50 to $100 still in my back pocket of where I believe it can get to. It's just whether it's going to happen in a shorter period of time, probably not. But there's always a chance it can. You never know, because a $50 price point is what, like a five? It's not a $5 trillion market cap. What is it, like 2.5? Let's see if I can go into exit plans. And wings are 3. What the heck? That's not right. Where's XRP? It's at 60 billion. Million, billion. All right, so 60 billion, and I have whatever. It doesn't really matter what I have. But a $50 price point at 60 billion will be a $3 trillion market cap, which I don't see as an impossible level, right? I think it should be worth multiple trillions with where XRP stands and what it can be and what it will be. Um, I think a $3 trillion market cap for me is a no-brainer. I think we're going to see multiple trillions for XRP eventually. It's just whether that can happen this year, because a lot of people believe that if we are going to see this altcoin season, that it is going to be a short altcoin season, and by the end of the year, we could potentially see the bear market start. Now, how strong would that bear market be? I don't know. Um, I'm guessing anywhere from 50% down, 40 to 50% down, especially with all the, you know, ETFs and traditionalists and long-term holders on board. So yeah, but a $10 to $20 mark at a $60 billion 60 billion coin supply, right? A $10 price is a $600 billion market cap. A $20 price is a $1.2 trillion market cap. I see those levels happening this year, and giving XRP the acceptance that it needs. Like, oh, it can be worth a lot more and should be worth a lot more. Then many people stop questioning it. Great teachers certainly support and inspire you, and to try and do great things. Yeah, I agree. Um, minimum, wait, 10 cent minimum Jasmy. I'm looking for that dollar level for Jasmy. I think a $50 billion market cap is not ridiculous, but it also depends on how strong and long the altcoin season is. I've asked Master Elmo things. He does answer. Well, um, yeah. I mean, well, I had a falling out with them like a while back, way back, and I can't even remember what it was about. But I think it was just whatever it was the principle of the thing rather than just like what actually happened. So I don't know. I don't remember. I have a video on it, so I don't know what happened. Is there a bull run? Hearing that the 4 year cycle is changing. What do you think? I do think the 4 year cycle will change. I don't think it has changed yet because Bitcoin still isn't in control of the market. Um, so that 4 year cycle will still be based on, Bitcoins having now anything else that's factored into it could have a slight change to things, but until we see Bitcoin out of dominance, I don't necessarily see a change to what that actual cycle is. You know what I mean? Some may say the cycle already changed because we expected to see growth mid 2025 to the end of 2025 for sure. Seeing that altcoins make moves as Bitcoin kind of decreases. But we didn't see that, right? We saw altcoins fall more and continue to fall with Bitcoin falling. And that wasn't, again, what we expected. So, yeah, maybe it already has changed a bit. I think I'm only going to be on here until about maybe 9:45, maybe 9:10. Um, maybe 10 o'clock. I don't know. I got a movie to go to. We're gonna go see. You know what? I'm not gonna tell you what we're gonna go see. Someone might ruin it for me. Actually, we're not even gonna go see a movie. Don't even put your guesses or say anything about anything, because people are just gonna say stuff. I don't want to hear that. All right, so I'm gonna close this poll. Thank you guys for answering the poll. We got 71% of people that said they did hit the like button, and 29% said that they didn't hit the like button. Um, that means a lot to me. Any answer honestly means a lot to me. I don't care if you did or didn't hit the like button, as long as you're honest about it. If you dislike the live, then dislike the live. You can do that. Any type of engagement does help. But currently, I have a trade for Jasmine Coin that is open. I have 930 USDT. I think that um, AVAX is a great level right now at $14. Um, I will take that because I could do a 5x leverage, which means that if it loses 20%, um, whoops, don't want that. So I want to do a leverage trade right now because, I like leverage trading. Um, but the current price is 14.47. Um, and if I do a 5x leverage, if it loses 20%, that means it would drop by $2.89. 47. So if it would drop to 11.58, what's the lowest price that it got to recently for AVAX? This is a lot of times what I'm going to do, just to give me kind of a leverage that maybe makes a lot more sense. In the last month, the lowest price that it got to was $11.30. So $11.58 um, is, so if I would do a 3x leverage, but then do something a little bit higher, so $4.47 multiplied by 33.3% is $4.81. So 414 minus $4.81 is $9.66. What's the lowest price that I got to in the last year? It looks like $11. The lowest price that I got to in the last year was, it says $10.64. So $9.66 probably won't happen, meaning that I can take a little bit of aggressive leverage here on AVAX and open a 3x leverage, or I could do a 5x leverage and take that risk of it coming down or popping down to the lowest level. It looks like this lowest level was $8, but you know, that level has only happened 1, 2, 3 times. So it's tough because you're still risking something. If you invest outright, then you own whatever you own, right? I already have AVAX and I already own it outright. So taking this little bit of a risk, I could either take 500 and just own a little bit more AVAX, or I could take 500 at a 5x leverage and own a lot more AVAX. So that's kind of where I stand, where I can go, all right, this is a 20x leverage. No, I don't want a 20x leverage. I want a 5x leverage. Do I have any AVAX there? No, I don't. So I want a 5x leverage. And then look at the slider. Look for what I'm margining, which would be about 500. 500 would then give me 173 AVAX for me to purchase, or for me to have at a 5x leverage, would mean that I cannot come down to this low level, which is 11.3. So I can't have a double back. It has to just increase. So I feel like that's good. We'll go ahead and take that risk at a 5x leverage, and we'll let that sit there. I do have one for Jasmy coin that's sitting here at a what's it, a 10x leverage, $770 worth of a gain. I have some that are at losses, and we'll see how that goes as we move along. So that's just a quick leverage trade that I made. If you guys want to start leverage trading, they have the ability to demo trade on this platform. If you use my link, you'll get a 10% deposit bonus on your first time deposit. You can get extra bonuses up to $10,055 and up to 40% lower trading fees. And if you want to, you can trade a 500x leverage. Like if you believe that, let's say you think Bitcoin, let's look at Bitcoin. You think that Bitcoin's going to run to a ridiculous level, and you're like, all right, it's already at a low point, and it's going to bounce, or it's going to make these huge moves to skyrocket as the market opens, right? You can put in a 500x leverage with a price of, let's say, you could just do $10 or something, $11 or $20 or whatever it is. I'll do 20 at the current price and say that this is going to skyrocket, maybe, right? I can open that 500x leverage. That's crazy. Now, what I would do is I would add a stop loss immediately and go, all right, when this hits 0.02, point 0.2, which is losing $20, I get stopped out and I lose everything. That's fine, right? um, but let's say it does gain something, right? So $20, I can lose that with a potential chance to gain a lot. Now, again, I just put this through, even though this may not be the best time to buy. It's just an accident of what I'm doing. Um, but let's say that I am right and it goes up and it gets up to, I don't know, what's some of these high prices here? That's 116. I don't want to look at that. Let's say it gets up to 95. So I'm thinking, all right, 95,000. It gets up to that price. Let me go ahead and do this, and we'll type in 95,000. 95,000 on a $20 investment. Just getting back up to the places that it was at, I gained $331 out of it off of a $20 investment that's there. So while I risk the $20, if you know what you're doing, if you know what you're doing with this chart and you're like, oh, it's going to absolutely explode. It's going to bust past this ceiling and it's going to get to $100,000 or whatever, right? Then you can essentially make a lot of money by doing that, and I'm just going to set it and say, this is going to get to it's going to break a $100,000 price today. It's going to get up to this high. It's going to go to 99, and that's where I'm going to set it at. And if it goes to 99, then I feel lucky. 99,000 would be a $771 gain within that. Now, again, with this stop loss, if it gets down to 1,800, I lose the $20 that I invested. If it gets to 99, I gain $771 off of a $20 investment, 500x leverage. And again, that's only if you know that things are going to run, that you have a guarantee. Like if it comes down to a massively low level and it's at a double bottom, you're like, all right, that double bottom for sure is going to be able to make me money in the end. So then you end up buying in at a higher leverage, still putting in your stop loss, making sure that you're securing yourself and keeping yourself safe. And then when it does break out and get to this high, you can then sell from this $84,000 price point all the way up to a $94,000 price point. But it's up to you on how you know how to read charts. Again, that was just an example of me putting money in on a play. Example. Again, if you want to check it out, link to that is in the description. It's in the chat, where you can get a 10% deposit bonus, and you can get extra bonuses depending on the different thresholds that you hit. So hopefully as the market opens that it absolutely explodes, but that's a whole hour and some change from now. It's like an hour and a half. You know what's great? I was going into my investing portfolio and I was looking at this and I was like, for the year, things look fantastic. I'm up by 1.66% for year to date. It's only 7 days in. I don't know what they're banging on upstairs, but the kids are eating breakfast and they're probably sitting at the table just kicking stuff. So if you hear a lot of banging up there, that's probably what that is. I should have like a sound floor as well as compression to the mic, but I don't have it on there. So you can hear everything like a snap. You actually can't hear dribbles of the basketball well, because I'll do like dribbles down here and just like work on some crossovers and stuff like that. I always want to make sure that I know how to do things before I teach Harper how to do things. Because it's been a while since I made basketball my first sport. I was a football player through high school and college, so um, would have loved to play basketball, but I don't think I had the ankles for it, and I still don't have the ankles for it. I have to wear two ankle braces. I feel like Steph Curry, except without the shooting ability. And I came from an era of basketball to where the reason why I didn't play basketball in high school and college is because anytime that I wanted to play basketball, I'm 6'3", right? Well, 6'2" and a half. Um, and anytime that I wanted to play basketball with anybody around the school, and I was 6 foot in fifth grade, so anytime from that point on, they wanted me to play center, right? And I knew I wasn't a center. I knew I wasn't gonna be a center. So why would I play center? So anytime it's like, you're expected to be down low, post moves. That was in an era and a time period to where um, only guards would really shoot threes, and maybe the small forward as well would shoot threes. But it was just torture because I would work on my game outside in, and people would be like, "Look, you need to be down low because you're the tallest person." I'm like, I'm only 6 foot. I know I'm taller than everybody here, but I can do a lot more than just be down low. So, and especially when I was young before ninth grade, I was 6'2", 160 pounds or 170 pounds. Like I was pretty skinny. And then obviously football came along, and I started lifting a little bit more and getting a little bit more muscle on me, which was great. If I wouldn't have had football, I wouldn't have had that muscle. But if I would have been able to play outside in for basketball, I would have probably played basketball the entire time. So I don't know. It's a whole nother discussion. What do you think about SHX? Let's see what SHX is. Wait, didn't I talk about this yesterday? I think I said that this had potential, but oh, the problem is the circulating supply. So even though you can see some popularity or some movement, currently seeing a 59 million dollar market cap with 1.27 million dollars worth of volume, maybe not having any popularity there. The problem that I would have is definitely with that supply. Having 5% of the supply out there makes me feel like it's going to be heavily diluted. So I can't be a big fan of something if it doesn't fit my strategy. However, I don't know what their dilution strategy is, if they even have one. But they should have one if they only have 6 billion coins that are out there versus the 100 billion total. So that's something that I would always worry about. But it doesn't mean that you can't make money from this play. It just means that your long term success depends on whether they decide to dilute it or not. Because at the current price level, a 1 cent price, this would be a $1 billion fully diluted value market cap. Is this worth $1 billion at the moment? That's your question to yourself. If they decided to dilute the whole thing, is it worth $1 billion? Maybe not. But can it be worth $60 million with the 1 billion supply that's out there? Possibly. Meaning that when it gets fully diluted, now you start worrying about whether it can grow to other levels from there. But you investing now at 1 billion or a 1 cent price point, and they dilute the entire thing, and let's say it does get to a $60 million market cap again, well, now you lost your entire value of what you put in there, and now you have to decide whether you are going to double down and average in, or if you're just going to sell it and just accept whatever losses you had. That's kind of where I would stand on it. That's why I didn't buy into Jasmy coin until they fully diluted the entire thing. Because the first time seeing it when it got listed on Coinbase, it was in the dollar range, right? um, so yeah, it was in the dollar range, and while it was in that level, I saw that it had a lot of supply left on the table, but then having a small amount that's actually in circulation. And I was like, this is going to be diluted. And lo and behold, it got diluted. 99% of the supply got introduced into it. And then also, it fell by 99%. And then many people were like, this is a rug pull. It's all over, and you're not going to be able to gain anything from this. No, it just got diluted, just like many positions will do as you move along. You get to the bull market, that bull market pushes it to a higher level. When it gets pushed to a higher level, they decide to add more coins because why not, right? Let's say something is worth, um, I don't know, let's say something is worth $1 billion at the moment, and you have 1% of the supply that's out there. You decide to add another, it gets to a high price point, and it's now worth $10 billion, right? You decide to then add another 1 billion coins that's out there, which now will be worth by itself another $10 billion. If it decreases and the whole thing is worth, $10 billion, obviously your value will decrease to about $5 billion. um, but you still have an extra $5 billion to do whatever you want with because it's your coins. You can sell them now. If you decide to sell them now, that will decrease the value of that position by a heck of a lot. But you've seen it, right? They utilize that money for other developments and other things that they're doing. In many cases, a lot of cryptocurrencies will start out with a low supply compared to the max supply and then dilute it over time just to be able to utilize those funds for other things, right? Even Ripple, right? Ripple has 40 billion XRP, and the more that they add, the more it does get diluted. So they do add sparingly. Instead of adding a billion a month, like they said, they're definitely adding way less. Can you please help analyze CC and Night as well? I don't know what CC or Night is. What are these kids doing upstairs? They're just kicking stuff. Is CC Canton? Is this the position you were talking about? That's sitting at a $5 billion market cap? I'm not going to go through both of them. I'll go through one at the moment. Which one do you prefer? Which one do you prefer? You tell me. Obviously, I have to check the market cap. Okay, Night. I have to check the market cap on the other thing because if the market cap is too low, then I'm not going to talk about that. Midnight, is that the one? What in the world? It's like they're dropping a house in the house. So is this one it? Midnight 57 by market cap? I would imagine so. Yes? All right. So Night currently has or sitting at a $1.3 billion market cap. Has a fully diluted value of 1.9, which is not too far away from where it does stand, which is great. Meaning that the circulating supply is close enough to the max supply to where it doesn't really have a major impact on that. You're not going to see a crazy amount of dilution. It's kind of like what you see with XRP, where it's like when you do add something, it's not necessarily going to have a crazy impact. It will have some sort of an impact because any dilution does, but it's not going to have a major impact where you're adding 100% of that supply every time you add it. You know what I mean? You can never add 100% to it. $50 million worth of volume, I feel like, is a little low. 4% volume to market cap ratio, and maybe that's just because of the day. In the last year, it's down by 82%. The last month, actually, I guess it's only been around for a while. It's only been around since December 9th. So it's down by 82%. In the last week, it's down by 12%. In the last 24 hours, it's slightly up. So as I look at this information, it's still within like kind of not necessarily the honeymoon phase. That's where I like to classify it. Where after at least getting listed on CoinMarketCap, if not being live elsewhere beforehand, you see the drop from 45 cents all the way down to the low level of 3 cents, but then seeing the consistent growth, seeing more than what you've seen here, right? A drop from 45 cents to 3 cents is crazy. Don't know why you had that. Maybe there was some sort of dilution process at that point. I don't know why. Or was that just um, some sort of glitch in the chart? But either way, you see the growth, up to 7 cents, back down. You see the movement creating higher highs, higher lows, and then the leveling out for the last month. It doesn't have a lot of information to really go off of there to say whether it is going to increase or decrease or be worth a lot more. But it's good to see consistent growth from the ninth to where we are a month later. That it's able to experience some ups and downs without just falling off the face of the earth. What in the world is going on upstairs? It's like I have no idea what's happening there. I'm sure they're okay. I don't hear any screaming or any crying. So, um, Erica's up there and she's getting them ready for school. I don't have to this morning, but they should be ready right now because the bus is going to be here any minute. Um, but yeah, it doesn't have a lot of information to go off. The community sentiment does show a 84% to 16%, ratio there. 15,000 followers versus the 14,000 watch list. So this definitely is brand new. It doesn't have any S tier exchanges, so that makes sense on why you're not seeing the volume. Majority of the volume that you would see would come from some of those S tier exchanges, which is Binance and Coinbase. OKX has about $6 million. Bybit has about $8 million. So you're seeing some decent volume on some of these platforms. It's honestly just not enough to show, that it is popular. Um, but what does it do? That's kind of what I want to know. Midnight is a new generation of blockchain developed by Charles Hoskinson, the co-founder of Ethereum and founder of Cardano, that uses zero knowledge or ZK proof technology to offer utility without compromising data protection or ownership, enabling applications that safeguard users' commercial and transaction data and metadata. Midnight introduces a novel blockchain architecture designed to address key privacy limiting designs of existing public blockchains, supporting applications that require a balance between privacy and disclosure. The Midnight Protocol combines the use of ZK proofs based public private dual state ledger architecture to protect data with a composite dual component uh, tokenomics designed to protect metadata. That was a lot of stuff that I do not understand after that. Like I feel like there was a lot of just like this is a lot of, and sometimes Erica will say that where this is a lot of swizzle swaps and swabble swibbles, and it's just like sometimes they just throw too much, and I understand all of them as you separate them and bring them into a sentence where they are their own highlight versus all of them being mixed together. It's kind of a lot. Midnight introduces several core innovations aimed at enabling programmable privacy. Regulatory compliance and developer accessibility is built around a dual component token system comprising or comprising Night, a utility token, and Dust, a what's crazy? I made a joke about a meme coin Dust token, and the fact that this is a thing is crazy. A shielded, decaying, non-transferable resource used in enabling metadata shielded transactions. So without the without being able to just go through the entire thing, because I would have to like, make a full video, probably breaking it down before to see what's the key parts and the most important pieces without boring everybody. No offense. Um, I think there has to be some sort of potential there with the backing of who's actually creating it and who's actually backing it, right? However, we haven't seen that transition to more popularity, probably because we don't have the S tier exchanges. But it's good to see that you have consistent growth and even leveling out at some of these levels rather than just growing and coming back to previous levels. You know what I mean? So um, I wouldn't own it, um, or I won't own it just because I don't have the funds to throw money into everything. But it does look interesting, at least. Built by Cardano co-founder, recently launched last month. It's live. Good morning. What's your take on Miracoin and its low point? Where do you think it can go on a base case? Give me a second. Let me just either catch my breath or also take a step back for a second, because I just went in and kind of reviewed this a little bit and gave my opinion. I want to like not talk for a second. Sometimes I feel like I'm just going and going, and it doesn't stop. Whew. I'm actually kind of hungry. Is it Miria? So I think the one that you're looking at is a 1,200 is 1,267 by market cap. I'm gonna leave that one alone because I typically don't talk about something that's in like the millions, that's like lower than that million, at like 6 million or 7 million or anything like that, just because you could always have an influence on that. I've had an influence on things that have gone up to a 10 million or $11 million market cap, and um, I don't really like to have that influence. I don't think I would, especially with only 64 concurrent viewers. It just all depends on the viewers after the fact. You know what I mean? And it does seem like it could be a um, legitly decent project. If we look at the last month, it's up. We look at the volume to market cap ratio, it's showing popularity. It could be something that starts a lot of growth for a lot of people, um, especially with 75 million or 75,000 followers and 105,000 followers on CoinMarketCap. I mean, why not? What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? All right. So let's look at it, I guess. I don't think we'll have an impact either way. So, yeah, I don't think we'll have an impact either way. So let's look at where Mir is. This is, hopefully I'm saying that right. Let me switch this camera around. There we go. Boom. Can we zoom out or something? Ah, we can zoom out. So we were all close every day for no reason. I can't like mirror the screen or anything, or I don't have it hooked up to like an emulator or whatever. Encoder. Is that what that is? Anyways, Miria is sitting at a 1,265 by market cap. So I'll say this: when you find plays that are outside of the top 100 and way outside of the top 100 like this, that could potentially be worth a lot more, and seeing a decent amount of volume, or having a good market cap to or volume to market cap ratio, you could potentially have something on your hands that could be one of those unicorns that actually does see a 100x return. As an investor, that's amazing. But you're basically investing in the beginning stages of things, right? I like some of those plays. I research and try and find some of those plays, but it's very difficult to find ones that'll go from 1,000 to the top 200 or the top 100 or something. But if you do, I mean, you make a lot of money on the investment that you make, whether it's just $1,000, you're now adding two zeros to that. So it's $100,000 that you could potentially make on something that is like that. So um, here's the Miria, right? It's sitting at 0.0001550. You have a total of 39.41 billion coins in circulation, and you have a max supply of 50 billion. So you're not going to really deal with a major amount of dilution, meaning that it gets diluted by 100%. The fully diluted value in this is 7.75 million. So while it sits at a 6.1 million dollar market cap, fully diluted value is only $1 million higher than that. Now, if that does get up to a $6 billion mark, then obviously adding another billion would be a lot. But if it gets to 6 billion, who's to say it can't get to 7 billion, right? So, anyways, let's backtrack. Millions, not billions. If we look at the position, its volume is around $2 million. It's up 265% in volume over the last 24 hours. So, what's the reason why we saw that? I don't know, right? Maybe it's listed on an exchange and that's the reason why it has a massive pickup. But you're looking at a 32 or 33% volume to market cap ratio, showing that it has a little bit of popularity, at least for the day, because yesterday's volume, right? You have $1.7 million in CEX volume and 229,000 in DEX volume. So that tells you a lot that a lot of CEXs or whatever the new CEX that it got listed on, that's the reason why it's kind of picked up in that volume. Maybe we have one, maybe it got listed on KuCoin because it looks like you have majority of that volume that's happening there. So correct me if I'm wrong. Whoever asked for this, who asked for it? Jose. Let me know if you know it got listed on a certain exchange recently. Because that's what it seems like. It seems like it's exchange volume that just happened. In the last month, it's up by 19%. The last week, it's up by 80%. In the last 24 hours, it's up by 21%. So it's definitely been moving consistently. And a lot of people have, or some people have made money from this low level growing by 80%. You put $1,000 in there, you have now 1,800, right? That's kind of the base level of that. Now, what is Mirror? That's a lot of stuff to go through. What makes it unique? Do we have the unique breakdown? We don't. I don't want to have to go through all of it. Mirror is a Ethereum layer 2 scaling solution, purpose build to scale NFTs, blockchain, gaming, and more. Miria's scaling solution built in partnership with Starkware, offers instant trade confirmation, zero gas fees or when minting and trading NFTs without compromising the security of users' assets. Miria's layer 2 developed using Starkware's Stark Prover. Utilizes zero knowledge rollups, ZK rollups technology to bundle large numbers of transfers into a single transaction to facilitate up to 9,000 transactions per second. That's pretty good. Mirror's developing Mirror Layer 2, a non-custodial Ethereum Layer 2 scaling solution, as well as a full suite of auxiliary blockchain tooling to empower tokenization efforts across a wide range of verticals. So I think when you look at it, all I want to see when I go into the breakdown of maybe the first paragraph or the first couple of sentences or something like that is that this is actually something to where it can be usable and plans to be usable. That it's not just like a front for an actual meme coin. Like they actually have a place that they want to go. And I'm sure that you've done a lot more research than I've been able to do, obviously over this last couple of seconds or anything, last couple of minutes. But it does seem like something that if you look outside, way outside the top 100, that you could potentially see a lot more. But I want to know why this volume is up by 261%. It's a gaming play, supposedly cited by Gala Games, that went to about 80 events last cycle. But why are we seeing, do we have any brand new news for this? Because it doesn't really break down any news to say that maybe it's X account. Make sure I'm logged in here. Because over the last 24 hours, it's seen a lot of volume. And I would like to know, it doesn't look like it has anything that it's doing over the last 24 hours. You have 217. See, like that's the thing. Like you have so many people that are following it. Such a low market cap, so many followers that the likelihood of this being more than what it is definitely likely. And those are the type of positions that I like to see. Where it has so many things that are leading towards positivity, but then that overall breakdown or position isn't at the market cap that it should be at. Based on that. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. How long have you been invested into it? If so, how long have you been invested into it? Have you seen any gains with it? What's your experience with the growth? So on that Bitcoin play so far that I invested $20 in on a whim, I'm up 125%. I don't know if it'll stay that way. Honestly, it's not. I'm not saying that it will and needs to, but it would be great if we did see it break out and get to that $100,000 price point. Like today, it starts out negative, but then really pushes. Because in the last hour, it's up by 0.18%. Can we see in the last hour that it's up by 100%? Let's just imagine that this does. Because I have a selling point where it's going to sell no matter what at this level, which is a previous low, um, to kind of break through that high. Because not only am I looking for it to break through that high, but also really break through it and get to about 99. But who's to say that that will happen? Um, let's say it does get to 120,000. It's a $3,000 gain, which is not worth it to hold on to that for that long. Off of a $20 gain, no. I'll just take it at 700 plus dollars. 200,000 is only I feel like it gets limited after a while. And it's AI. It dropped dramatically in the last downtick. I've had it for a year and I'm down, but a dollar cost average. But it was at um, 1% or 10% of a penny and dropped to where it is. I mean, at that level, you would be looking at what, a 30 or $3.9 million price point at just a 0.0001, but then 0.001 you would be looking at a $39 million price point, which is still, I would take away that 5 and just say it's a 10x from where we are. So it dropped. It was even lower than that though. It was at 0.00008. So dropping even lower than this one that's here. So yeah, that's pretty crazy, honestly, to say. Let me change this around. Flip camera. All right, I think I'm gonna head off the TikTok live just so I can charge my phone because my phone's about to die. But I'm gonna stay on the YouTube live until probably about 9:45, and we can talk about some things, whatever's going on. I honestly need some shoes on because my feet are very cold. I didn't set out any shoes for this morning, and I didn't want to wake Erica by going in the closet. So I was just like, all right, well, I'll just go down here in just socks, which I hate. I absolutely despise walking around in socks. I don't like it. I need some support for my arch, which I naturally work on, but also any DeFi projects you like. Um, Not at the moment. um, Not that I could think of. I think I pretty much do like DeFi projects, but not that I could think of right now. Um, but yeah, I need to get some shoes on or something. I got basketball practice today. Not me, but I'm coaching my daughter's team. This is the last game before Maria has some major contract issues. Beware. All right, that's something we'll have to look into. What's the major? I would ask what's the major contract issue, but I'm gonna hop off live on TikTok right now. But I appreciate everybody that's watching right now. Anybody that has watched, anybody hit the double tap the screen or triple tapped or just continue to tap. We got 5.2K likes. Um, but I'm gonna get out of here on TikTok, and if you want to join me over on YouTube, feel free to join me over there. But I'm gonna get out of here, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya. Yeah, my phone was about to die. Now we're good. My phone is charging. All right, just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm gonna see where these kids are, what's happening. I think they should be off to school at the moment. know what's crazy? I bought something from TikTok. Um, I bought a Game Boy. I think I said something yesterday, but I bought something from TikTok, a Game Boy Color that they sent. They scammed me or tried to scam me, and they sent only the back covering to that Game Boy Color, and I was just like, "What the?" The back covering in a bag. That's all I got, and I was like, "This is not the product." Sent a picture and everything, so I'm getting that refund. I think it said money back guarantee, so I should get that money back. Um, but yeah, now I had to order another one. I ordered this one from Amazon rather than eBay because apparently eBay is just full of different scams and they just allow it because they can't get around it. I don't know. I really don't know. It literally had an authenticity guarantee, it had a money guarantee, a money back guarantee, and I'm like, all right, perfect. And they go and send me the back battery covering of the Game Boy Color, and I'm like, what the hell is your problem? Why would you do something like that? Who do you think you are? You know what I mean? So let's look at. Let's go ahead and refresh this. In the last hour, let's see if I'm still up on this play. I'm up by $12.60. Come on, man, get up there. Now I'm pushing for this to move. You have 1.3 million Jasmine coins. It's amazing. SK Lab, you have 1.3 million Jasmine coin. I have 1.4. Well, technically 1.5, but 1.4 that I'm actively moving, and 100,000 that I don't plan to move at all. Let me refresh everything, and let me get out of here as well. So my Jasmine coin currently sits at, if I was looking at my Jasmine coin, give you an update on where I am. It is 2.4% of my portfolio. I have an unrealized return of $5,000. I have 1.44 million Jasmine coin over here, worth $12,811, with an average of 54 cents. So very excited, very happy about that. The only thing I'm not happy about is if I decide to take any profit on this 540,000, it has to come in the next year, right? It would have to be not in the next year, but after the next year. So um, November 17th, 2025, I have to wait until, that date, 2026, just to have that long-term effect on it. For XRP, everything that I own is long term, which is fantastic. So when I make those moves, I know I'm not getting taxed at a crazy rate. I know that it's going to be 20%. Someone said that all cryptocurrency is taxed at just a regular, like, capital gains tax of 20. And I don't think that's true because how much I got taxed last year definitely didn't tell me that that was the case. But I am tired. I wake up way too early. Today I woke myself up just because I was excited about the market. See if there's any new Jasmine coin news, which I don't see any. Why is Jasmine coin price rising today? Will it reach 1 cent? That's a TradingView article. Crypto gainer Jasmy coin rallies as Cosmos and BitCenter retreats. So why is Jasmy coin price rising today? That was yesterday, the 6th. Jasmy coin is trading higher today after posting a sharp daily rebound. This move is supported by a surge in volume. Oh, I have this up at the moment. Surge in volume and technical breakout form a multi-month descending channel. The move marks one of Jasmy's strongest single-day performances in recent weeks, drawing renewed attention from short-term traders. The Jasmy price is trading near 87% of a penny, up over 16% after printing an intraday high of 96% of a penny and a low of 74% of a penny. Um, daily daily trading volume has surged to around $166 million with over 470% increase, significantly above recent averages. Descending channel breakout drives momentum. As shown in the daily chart, Jasmine has broken above a well-defined descending channel um, that had guided the price lower since August. The breakout occurred after the price defended the 60% to 65% zone, demand zone, which acted as a base through late December. Hmm. I always like to look at these to say like whether it was something they were looking for or whether it was something that um, they found afterwards. Um, the latest daily candle has also pushed the price above the 20-day and 50-day moving averages, a key short-term bullish signal. However, Jasmy still trades below the 200-day moving average near 1.1, 1.2 cents, which remains a major overhead resistance zone. Today's rally is backed by a clear expansion in volume. The on balance volume indicator has turned sharply higher, climbing back towards 179 billion, indicating renewed accumulation rather than a low liquidity bounce. This volume behavior suggests buyers are stepping in with conviction, increasing the probability that the move is more than a brief intraday spike. That's really good to hear. Fresh news, but market sentiment has shifted. There's no confirmed project specific announcement from Jasmy in the last 24 hours. Instead, the rally appears to be driven by broader strengthening across altcoins, rotation into beat down legacy tokens. Beaten down legacy tokens. That's wild. That's a wild statement. I would take that as disrespect if I was Jasmy, right? If that was a person, those would be fighting words, right? A beat down legacy. Um, improved risk appetite following stability in Bitcoin. Such sentiment driven moves often favored lower price assets like Jasmy, especially when technical structures flip bullish. So yeah, there's not any news on Jasmine Coin. I think that's the thing that a lot of people have trouble with is the fact that Jasmine Coin doesn't have as much news going out or going on, and many people are always like left wondering like what's going on with Jasmine Coin, what can I get, what videos are out there, and honestly the videos are mainly about what the price predictions are, where the prices are, what you believe the prices are going to be, all that stuff, um, which is mainly the same thing because you don't really have much news that's out there. and much news is being released. So it's difficult for me to make a video on Jasmine Coin every day, or every other day, because even if we look at it every week, we still don't have brand new news for Jasmine Coin. But we try to get something out so you guys can get your Jasmine Coin fix or information fix. You know, if you guys want to check out my link for BTCC, please check that out. The link is down there in the description. You can get a 10% deposit bonus if you use my link on your first time deposit. You can also get 40% lower trading fees. I'm currently using that now for a couple of trades. I have one for Bitcoin that I just did as a not kind of a joke. I took $20 and did a 500x leverage at a place to where there's no support levels or anything that's really telling me anything. It's just um, hey, I did this and maybe it'll break out. I do have an AVAX trade that I just made that I don't think will come down to the $11.50 price point. But if it does, then so be it. I have to set an actual stop loss though. Percentage is 20%, which would be the 500, it would be $514, and it would be $11.50 price. So that's what I set that at. And I'm hopeful we could see some more positivity there. You know, I don't know if I should make any other trades though. Maybe I should look at like a Terra Luna Classic maybe, and where that stands and put it at like a 5x or something. Because this sits at a 0.000043 level. This was just recently at a 2 level, and did rise to a 7 or 8 level. So, um, and that was kind of missing out on that for here. For my long-term position in Terra Luna Classic, no, I still have that. So maybe if I do a 5x leverage, whoops, which should be 20%, meaning that if it comes down to 3, it'd be 20%. So maybe a little lower. All right, I could do that. You can see if that works. I'll throw another 200 there at a 5x leverage, giving me $1,000 worth of value, and then also giving me 23 million Lunic. And let's set a stop loss there with that. We'll set a stop loss at 20%, which is 200. And if we also looked at what maybe some of the prices could be, so 0.000, let's say it got to only one drop zero, that would be $1,000. If it got to 2 drop zeros, that would be 21 or $22,000, or 3 drop zeros, which is $228,000. But then also, my current value of Lunic would be at about $1 million of the total amount that I have in my MetaMask wallet. So that would be interesting. A total then of $1.2 million. That would be cool, wouldn't it? I have I have some Jasmine coin. Um, Wondering if I should get some more. I have a small amount. So that's totally up to you, right? It's all about on your belief in the play. If you have a stronger belief in something else, then having a small amount of another play that you don't believe in as much might be okay. You know, because you're looking to get majority of your profit somewhere else, which is perfectly fine, right? I don't expect everybody to have the same um, you know, or want the same things out of the things that, I'm buying. Okay. I'm buying the things that I'm buying because I've done my research into it. And I would imagine, you know, you've done research into it. I don't know how much a small amount is, but I'm sure you're fine. But this is not a horrible price to get Jasmine coin. I think anything under a penny is fantastic. It's just, seeing the level of growth that it has had of like, 50% or so in the last week. That's something that you then have to deal with because it's up 50% and you could have been already up 50% if you decide to invest in this a few days ago. Hey Matt, how you doing? I have 1 million Jasmine. Is that okay? Yeah, I think that's great. 1 million Jasmine coin can get you that level of um, potentially become a jazz millionaire, right? But as soon as you do end up selling at that price of, let's say, $1, you would have to pay taxes, so you wouldn't then be a crypto millionaire. But still, you're making a lot of money from it, and you have a lot of opportunity. As you move forward, it gets to 10 cents. You can take 10% of that, which is $10,000. Um, and to know that the whole thing is valued, once it does get to that 10-cent mark, is valued at $100,000. It's phenomenal. It's just hard because I don't have much money, and I'm trying to play my cards right. My biggest amount I have now is in XRP. Everything I'm doing is long term, not looking for fast money. Well, that's good. That's what you really want. You want to have the patience, and I think having XRP as your main play is not bad, right? That's great. I like XRP. I love XRP. Um, and I think XRP has the most potential out of any cryptocurrency that's there to be something way bigger than what it is. um, so having majority in there is a good thing, and you don't need to have a large stake in Jasmine coin um, just because other people do, right? I always thought that that was the case as I watched people on YouTube or talked to people. I would see that they had $1,000 in Microsoft or Apple, and I'm like, I should have Apple. I should have this play. I should have that play. No, you don't need to have every play that everybody else has. No, it's not okay. Get some more. That's what Pancake Fox says. You don't have to get any more if you don't want to, but or if you can't. Whatever you have should be fine. But just know that you can't expect the same level of gains or money out of somebody else that has a lot more. Like if somebody has 1 million and you have 100,000, you can't expect some of the same gains or any of the same gains. You'll get the same percentages, but just not the same dollar amounts. So I only have 290K Jasmine, but it's all proportional. Everyone thinks in terms of, oh, sorry, I'm trying to stretch. Everyone thinks in terms of all or nothing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are always like um, looking at how much I have and they're trying to gauge how much they should own based on how much I have. And sometimes they end up buying more than what I have, which is fantastic. But I hope that if you do have more than what I have, you believe in it more than what I do, right? Because if you're a person that's just copying and going, I want to buy, 200,000 XRP because I see this person has 100,000 or something. Um, are you thinking the same way that they do, or a long-term mindset, or are you just looking for gains before they decide to sell? Because there's some people that are looking to do that, right? If I have 1 million of something, somebody's looking to get 5 million, and then they're going to sell before my selling point. So um, they'll go, oh, you're going to sell at $10. Well, I'm gonna sell there too, but then they end up selling at 9, right? Right before it hits $10, which is okay. You can do whatever you want. It's a player versus player market. Um, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I do believe in it, though. I think Jasmy is gonna make big moves. I do think that Jasmy is gonna make some big moves as well. You know, it's tough to say 100% that something's gonna make a huge move or have a larger impact, but I can say for sure that I am in full belief that Jasmy Coin can have a larger impact than what people think. Um, doesn't mean that it will. It means that I believe that it can. Privacy coins went crazy in 2025. Do you have any recommendation? And does privacy coins stay hot? I'm not sure. I don't have any. I don't have any recommendations at the moment. Um, Let me see what is listed under that. Um, if we were talking about within the list of privacy coins, right? Top privacy tokens by market capitalization, the total market cap is $68 billion. Um, Litecoin, I have a lot of Litecoin. I like Tezos. Somebody talked about Night today. Um, so those are ones that I have in my possession. All the other ones that are here, I don't really have anything. So somebody mentioned Canton and Midnight. Um, but yet I haven't. There's a decent amount of trading volume, 7%, I guess, in the last 24 hours, I would say. Um, but yeah, the only ones that I have in my possession is Litecoin, and I have a little bit of Tezos. I would have had more, but I have a little bit. Everything else, no. Oh yeah, I understand. And I have a crypto calculator to help me see what you can make. Okay. Poppy is up 74% for the week. That's great. I wouldn't chase it. Oh, I'm not gonna chase it. I haven't bought a new cryptocurrency in a while. I think. I think the last one might have been Terra Luna Classic. All right, guys. I think I have to head out of here. And I said I would go until about 9:45, but it's about 3 hours of a live stream. It currently is 9 o'clock, and I got a couple of things to do. I want to try and eat something before we go in because I have a late lunch that I'm going on because the movie doesn't start till later. So, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm glad you guys can be here with me today and talk about Jasmy Coin, talk about XRP, and talk about many other things, investing in general. It's amazing to have you guys here. So, hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed or like the video. Do everything to support my channel. It does help out. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Make sure you guys check out my link in the chat for BTCC. If you guys want to get a free or a deposit bonus, right? On your deposit that you put in there, your first time deposit. If you want to leverage trade, if you want to trade outright, if you want to demo trade, all that stuff is all available in there. But I'm gonna get out of here and I'll catch you guys in the next one.